30 Pacific. Hey everybody, it's Craig Rieger here. I'm co-founder of Rieger Coaching and Consulting based out of Portland, Oregon. And I could be not more excited, thrilled, pumped, fired up to have Mr. Michael Perna. Thanks for joining us today, Michael.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Craig. I really appreciate it. This is a lot of fun.
It is, man. This is for me like a coming home party. Michael and I spent many masterminds, evenings, steaks, and you name it in between in Austin, Texas. We're both in Gary Keller's mastermind group and became really close friends. And then as the years went by and I went different directions with my businesses, and I wouldn't say we lost touch, but we weren't talking as frequently. And go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the same thing. Like we kind of lost touch just a little bit there as we went down our respective paths. I think COVID had played a large part of that, not getting to the masterminds anymore, not seeing each other like we used to. And honestly, that's a shame. I'm really happy I ran into you.
Yeah, fantastic. That's the beauty of, I guess, COVID being over is Michael, and we're going to talk about on today's call, is he's very learning based. I mean, you probably go to what, 30, 40, 50 different events a year?
Easily. Absolutely. I've got a tour shirt that has all the events from last year.
Yeah. So we've been running into each other at these events and reconnected. And I think I've seen you more in the last 60 days than I did the previous 3 years.
Truth. That is the truth. And I hope to see a lot more as we go to more events together. And everybody should be going to these as well.
So let's dive into it, right? You have built one of the biggest, most successful real estate teams in the industry. Like on a national level, like you're there, like, and I do the homework because our coaching company wants to know who's out there, who we're working with. And, you are in the top list of, like, doesn't matter if you look at Wall Street Journal, Real Trends, EXP, KW used to be at, like, you're in that top tier. And I'm excited for you to share with our audience today, how you do it. Like, how do you go from, not everybody wants to, but regardless, for those that want to or curious about, like, how do you go from being a really successful real estate professional with a team to having a business that runs itself? So that's going to be today's topic. You ready to dive in and get started?
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Well, let's open up with that. Like, when you and I were in Gary's group, you were throwing down a lot of units, right? And this was 10 years ago, 400, 500, 300, 600, like lots of units. And now we look at your business, and in a down market during a seasonality, bad time of year, you opened 97 escrows, your team did in January. So what was that transition from you were in production, you're running a small team, and now you're opening up 100 units and in a down market in the worst arguably month of the year to sell homes? Like, what changed in you? What clicked? What did you do?
Sure. No, great question. And I'll say at 96 units, that was our team's #1 January in the history of ever. And we beat our second #1 January by 30 units, which I'm so proud of my guys. Proud of you guys. So the culmination of that was, like, the market started shifting late last year, and we saw that happening, of course, on a national level, right? With interest rates rising and sales starting to slow down. And we saw the numbers coming out of Inman and the New York Times and Wall Street Journal showing that the number of units were down 30%, 35%, 40%, depending on the metro nationwide. So we ended up doubling down on the prospecting. We started what was called Mayhem Mondays. So on Mondays, 4 Mondays in a row, we had every single team member in the office, locked and loaded, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., just dialing the phone, looking for appointments. And there were 2 reasons for that. One, I wanted the immediate appointments, of course, because we need to punch through winter. We need to punch through December. We need to punch through January and now February. But also, when a mind is stretched, it's not quite like a rubber band where it contracts all the way. It never fully contracts. So now my guys know, hey, I can do 600 dials a day or 800 dials a day or even 500 dials in one day. So what I've seen their numbers go from on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is my average agent was dialing the phone 30, 35 times. And now they're dialing the phone 55 to 65 times on average, because, like, to them, it's now easy. Like, they did this monstrous full day sprint. So now anything less than that sprint got a lot easier. Right. So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, that set it up. And let's go back in time though a little further. Like, when did you decide to, like, scale and build this to the level it's at now?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So kind of at the onset of COVID, I was a little uncertain as to I think we all were uncertain as to what the market was going to do. I mean, we saw a 30 some odd % drop in units just in that April from the March shutdown. At least here in Michigan, we were super shut down, and we couldn't do open houses. We couldn't show houses. We couldn't do or attend inspections. It was rough, right? And where my fear came in was twofold. One, I need to start growing the opportunities for my current team members. And I saw a competing broker who owns 14 offices, put a letter out on a Monday, the Monday after the lockdown started, and it basically said this: "Hey guys, we're in COVID. We have no idea how long the governor's going to have us locked down for. So at this point, I think your best bet is take it easy, take the month off,
Wow.
right? Take the month off. Don't worry about real estate. Spend some time with your families." And I think I read, I got one of my agents sent me the letter, and I looked at that. I'm like, this is the most tone deaf thing I've ever heard. Most of these agents out there, they can't take a month off. They can't. And there are ways to sell real estate virtually. And there are some good people in this market that were struggling. So we got on the phones, and not only were we prospecting for sellers and buyers, we started going after and just pounding down the doors of agents themselves, because there are a lot of people that they live check to check. They're 2 commission checks away, which is horrible, from being bankrupt.
Yeah.
And as we start bringing these great people in, business begets business. We started growing and scaling at a massive level, which has allowed us to do things like put some very specialized programs in for our agents. And we continue to do that. And you and I have talked about that, where we continue to specialize down our leadership roles. So right now, my leadership team, of course, I've got a director of sales, I've got a director of operations, I've got a director of training and coaching, but I have 6 other leaders below them with very specialized roles right now, which has, again, allowed us to continue to scale and also stay micro to the human, like on a very granular level, making sure that our individuals are achieving their goals.
Awesome. And what that's done, I would imagine for you, Michael, is it's given you the ability to probably do several things. One is, like, I know your sister and it's your
Mhm.
niece or nephew live in Dubai, right? It's allowed you to,
Yep.
like, enjoy quality of life,
Oh
which
my
is
gosh.
really challenging.
That was challenging. Like before COVID, we were at 20 or 25 agents. We had the boutique team that was very culture focused. We didn't want to be the big team, because I had that limiting belief that big is bad and big is definitely not bad. So I would go to Dubai, and I would go to Abu Dhabi, and I would stay with them for 3 or 4 weeks because I was out of production. Thankfully, I could do that. However, I was on the phone till 3 or 4 in the morning, helping agents with deals, doing coaching calls, all of those things, which meant I was pretty useless until 12 o'clock, 1 in the afternoon. And that's not a that's not much of a family visit. It just isn't. It
Yeah.
just isn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you travel halfway around the world and you're still slinging real estate, putting out fires, smartest guy in the room. Yeah, I mean, how many times have I seen been with, like, real estate agents in Hawaii, and it's like they're literally spending their entire time on the phone, not with their family. So
Yeah.
it freed you up to be able to enjoy your family. But what I would imagine it also did is it gave you the ability to actually start focusing on the business, on the client experience, on the systems and culture of the company, and add to those, because you were no longer tied up in the day-to-day activities. Am I right?
That is what Here's a great example of that. At this moment in time, while this Zoom is going on, my entire team of 130 agents with my leadership team is next door at our all team advance, right? And that is a 100% culture focused event. We're not talking about scripting or dialoguing. We're not talking about units or sales. We're not talking about how to convert better. None of it. We're right now, our main focus for this all team advance is how do we reconnect with our families better? How do we support our families that are supporting us? Like, what does that conversation look like? Because I think that's a very big missing piece in real estate is we get so wrapped up and focused in the units and the sales and the volume and the drive and the showings and all of those things. We forget that we still have a spouse over here who's largely locked out of what we do every day. And that person's actually there to help us. That person's there to support us. Now, how do we elicit their help? And how do we be open enough to ask for it? So that's been a very large focus of the day, which has been very powerful. And of course, it's Valentine's Day, so we gave each other Valentines, and
Oh yeah.
there
No,
were, yeah, I will say that myself as well. Like, I was very emotional. Like, there were Sadie was so good with this. She put all the envelopes on the wall. We got to rate each other little Valentines, right? And just to even hear the supportive voices of the people around us, because sometimes we feel that we're not doing as well as we should be. Maybe we're not as impactful on other lives as we should be. But even just to know on a small level, our own team members and how they feel about us or respect us, or how we contribute to their lives without even knowing it. There was barely a dry eye in the house. It was great. It was amazing. It was impactful.
that's awesome. Well, let's switch gears, because it does,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the culture is phenomenal. And the fact you got today dedicated to that, you got the other 4 days of the week to work on scripts and process and closing. But I join your company tomorrow. I'm a brand new agent, just got my real estate license yesterday. What kind of training, like, how do you set up the training to hit the results from new launch to your seasoned agents? Walk us through that program.
Well, and I've got 4 programs for that when I walk you through each one. So first 60 days, you're with a lady named Wendy. She's one of my veterans. She's been with me for 5 years. She started as a new agent herself. She's one of the biggest cheerleaders in the world. She's got 2 daughters that live out of state, that she gets to go see a couple of months a year, which is fantastic. But she is going to ensure that you are successful in real estate. Her primary focus is getting you into your first 3 escrows, period. That is the focus.
Within 60 days, 3 escrows, period.
Yeah. We are scripting and dialoguing, and we are razor focused on that one thing, because I know this. I can teach you how to do purchase agreements. I can teach you how to write addendums. I can teach you about flood zones. I can teach you all these things that don't actually get you paid. But if you go 90 days and you don't see a paycheck in sight, you're failing out of the business. Most people are. Not everyone. That's a generalization. But the vast majority of people in real estate, if they're not starting to generate income around day 90, 120, 150, who cares about a floodplain? Who cares about an addendum that you're never going to write? It doesn't matter. So we focus on that. Our second level of help comes in what we call Hotline Bling, which for any Drake fans out there, that is 100% named after the Drake song. We have a 7-day-a-week, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. manned hotline. It's just one phone number you can call or text within that 12-hour period. And there's a veteran that has done at least 200 units on the other end of that line that will help you write that purchase agreement. And in fact, they'll get on the phone with your client. They'll get on the phone with your co-op agent while you're there. So you're learning while you're doing. So we want to support you in the confidence of knowing that your first couple of deals at the minimum, you've got somebody to fall back on. So you've got a co-op agent that has done 1,000 units over their 25-year career. That's awesome. Guess what? I've got the veteran behind you, even if it's your first deal, that's going to contact that co-op agent and show you through doing it themselves how to negotiate a deal properly. Like there's the textbook, but then there's practical application. The practical application is a far superior training tool. Next up, we've got a conversion coach. So once you're out on day 60, you've got your couple of escrows going, you get into Jeff's world. And Jeff on my team is a conversion coach where he is still, and this is true if you're in the business a year, 10 years, I don't care. He's listening to your calls on a micro level and then immediately switching over to try to help you save or revive or get through. So like Craig, if you make a call and it's just not a good call, he's going to be on the other end of your phone because he listened to it and saying, hey man, you had talked to this seller in this way. I listened to the call. You missed some of their intonation and inflection. They actually were more asking about this. They gave you an objection, but the objection wasn't really the objection. You needed to dive deeper with 3 more questions. Why don't we get that person on the line together? And let's get back into getting into a listing appointment to get the listing, to get the home sold, to help that family move.
Awesome.
Right? Because we have objections, we have conditions. And sometimes, especially when we're newer, we forget that conditions and objections are very different. And a lot of newer agents think objections are conditions. Well, I don't want to move because the interest rates are high. Well, that's an objection we can overcome. But some agents stop dead there because they don't have the experience yet. Well, I can't move because I need to be in this district for 3 more years because my son has to go to this high school. That's a condition. Okay, that person's probably just not going to move, right? And a lot of these people don't have that experience, if that makes sense.
100%.
So then that's level 3. Level 4, of course, is just the team itself. Like these guys, like if you look at our Slack channel and our GroupMe chats, every day, there are 20 or 30 questions in there. And there are 100 responses helping people out, up to and including, can somebody help me out with a showing? Can somebody cover an inspection? I've got a kid event going on that I need to go to. This is super important for my family. Can someone cover an inspection for me? And the answer is yes. Almost 100% of the time, there's somebody there.
It's awesome. And the last part to me is just an abundance mindset. When Gary Keller used to teach us, Mike, it was like you don't have any problems until you have an abundance of leads. That is problem 1, is figure out how to have an abundance of leads. And your team, my team, and many other teams out there, we've solved that problem. And then I still see with a lot of teams, certainly like not yours, where the agent's holding on to it. It's like they schedule an appointment, but they're supposed to be at a soccer game. Yep. You got 139 other agents to give it to, or a team of 5 has 4 other agents to give it to. I also want to go back to your launch. Like, thank you for what you shared in that launch. I think it was Wendy in the first 60 days. Her life's ambition is to get 3 escrows for that new agent. And even the fact, like, you're not worried about mastering the RSA agreement. Like, you have 25 other people on the team, or maybe 75 others that can help that part of the process. It's let's get them out and get them into production. I see this constantly in the coaching space, and I'll be coaching a top team owner somewhere like, let's call it Seattle. And he hires a new agent. He's like, Craig, I got a rock star. I'm like, awesome, good job. Like, it's a lot of work to onboard somebody, find them, all that. I was like, if I call that rock star, let's call him Bob. And if I call Bob right now and ask Bob, what is the goal of how many escrows you're going to have in the next 30 days? What would Bob's answer be? And 90% of the time, the team owner is like, oh, we haven't talked about that. And we're just like, what the hell is wrong? Like, you brought somebody into your team. Let's call that person new in real estate. Their sole income is getting people into contracts, helping them reach their goals, and handing them keys at the end of the escrow process. And you don't have a goal of how many units?
And it blows my mind, because at the end of the day, we all have mortgages to pay, rent to pay. Like, why would the income conversation and the unit and the getting buyer agency signatures or getting listing, why would that not be the first conversation? The first conversation. And one day there were two things I want to say about this. One, you said it at a mastermind I was at, and I actually took note of it, is you give your people their first 90-day goals, because they don't even know yet what they should. So sometimes the ones that do ask the question, hey, what is your goal, Mr. Agent? By the way, you got a license 48 hours ago, so you have no idea what a goal should be. And they say, oh, I want to sell 10 units next month. Okay, well, that makes no sense. That makes no sense, right? Second month in. I'm sure it's happened somewhere in this world, but it makes no sense. But on the other hand of it, you set them up with their goals in the beginning, and they're achievable, they're measurable, they're specific. And then after that 90-day period, if I remember right, then you start tailoring the goal to what their specific family needs are, to this income, to this level. And so we've really adopted that system. One thing that we've gotten real out of your coaching as well, which I love, and I love that you guys as coaches are 100% in alignment, which is why we picked you up, is the very first thing that you guys started with us was the initial phone call, the first 20 seconds with a lead, right? Like, you went all the way back to the beginning, which is super important, because again, it falls right into our alignment of, I don't need to know how to write a purchase agreement if I can't get an appointment to show the house.
Yep.
Like, until that happens, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anybody can develop links on a DocuSign. Anybody can really do that. Let's be real. But showing a home, getting somebody to go from a phone call to an appointment, getting an appointment to a multiple step appointment, getting that appointment to pull the trigger on a house. That's where the skills need to be, especially in the first 60 days. And I love that about what you guys do over there.
Thanks, buddy. It's been a blast working with your team, and I'm blown away that you remember from a conference eons ago me sharing that. Yeah, 100% is. In the first 90 days, we set your goals. And what it does, and right, you don't have to have a team of 150 like Perna. If you're leading one person and you bring them into your organization, you set their goals for the first 30, 60, and 90-day increments. And what it does, it puts mad accountability on you to deliver, right? So, Michael, welcome to the company. You're going to get 3 escrows in the first 60 days. Then that puts mad accountability on me to make sure I give you the training and tools to accomplish those 3 escrows in 60 days. It's up to you to do the work, but it's up to me to give you the training and tools so you can accomplish that goal. It's this beautiful relationship. And then you're right, at the end of the 90 days, then we sit down, it's like, congratulations, you've earned the right to stay in our company. We're so proud you hit the goals we set for you. Now it's all about you. Like, Mike, what's important to you? What do you want your business to look like? What do you have from a family standpoint or a health standpoint or a travel standpoint? And now we're going to create your goals. We're going to plug those into our ecosystem, and we're going to help you reach your goals for as long as we get to stay in business together. It's a really cool way to roll. All right, let's. There's so much knowledge being dropped, Mike. Thank you.
One thing I'm going to note, I think this is really important for all the team leaders on the call that you had said, is you're going to create their goals and you're going to be held accountable to those goals. And then you said you can't do the work for them. They need to do the work. Right? They still need to show up. They need to lace their boots up. They need to get their butts on the phone and do the work. Right? And that's part of the reason why we went with the big team model. Is there are a lot of people in this world that I think deserve the opportunity to change their lives. And at 20 agents, I couldn't do that. Right? I mean, change their lives on multiple levels. Right? So with our model right now, we literally give every single person an opportunity that wants to try. Right? And that means that we do have a 70% fallout rate in the first 45 days, because they get into it and they realize, holy heck, real estate is actual hard work. It's not like you see on TV, $1 million listing. It's not like you see like your neighbor is a part-time real estate agent and it looks like he made an extra 10 grand because he sold a house. You know, it's not like my mother, who is a real estate agent, a lot of respect for her, but she was 100% sphere of influence, and she got most of her stuff from, my Boy Scout troop and referrals like that, frankly. This is real, actual hard work. Now, the 30% that make it, what's interesting is I did a survey of my leadership team and I put 5 names in front of them. I said, think back in time. Did you want to hire this person? And every single one of the 5, there was at least one no from the leadership team, but they made it and they changed their lives and thereby changing our lives. So I can't predict success. I've taken all the courses. I've taken all the training and personality profiles. I've done all of those things. I've got a young kid right next door right now who said to us, hey, he's 23 years old. I saw myself dying in a factory after 5 years. I just needed somebody to give me a chance. His 3rd month in real estate, he has 6 escrows.
Wow.
Somebody just needed to give this kid a chance. And the personality profile and testing and all of that would have eliminated him. And that's kind of sad in my opinion. So we set our system up. Now, does that mean everybody's going to stay? No. If they don't do the dials and they don't do the work, they're going to be out of the business no matter what. And I can't be responsible for that. But I can be responsible for the environment of success.
So let's talk about that environment of success. So I join your team. Wendy is coaching me up, giving me the tools, the scripts, the call list, I'm sure, to get my 3 escrows in those first 60 days.
Yep.
How's that monitored, right? Every successful team that I talk to, work with, interview, personally coach, works with our greater company here, RCC, is they've got some system of accountability. Like a lead's got to actually go into CRM. That lead actually has to be followed up with, like, how do you guys manage that a single agent can do this, or a team of 130 can do it? It all leads to success. What is your system for that? Managing the leads and making sure agents are doing the activities.
No, great question. So for the first 60 days, we're going to give them 10 leads a day for the first 2 weeks. And every day they've got to call all 10 leads every day. So by the end of the week, they're doing 50 calls, right? By the end of week 2, they're doing 100 calls a day. In addition to that, we're going to give them 3 ISA appointments. That's it, just 3. One of those should convert into an escrow very quickly, right? And then she's going to, again, monitor that very closely. Okay, hey, John, you got an ISA appointment assigned to you. You've got to make the connect call right now. Hey, John, your appointment was on Monday night. I don't see the notes. How did it go? What happened? Talk to me about that. Hey, John, you got to do the follow-up call based on what you were saying. And so we help them with that case. We'll do the work for them. But in the beginning, I think actually, and I probably have this own limiting belief myself, is that when we call people too much or we follow up too much, we're a bother. But the reality is that's what people want. People want great service, right? And especially coming into real estate, a lot of people think if they call twice a week, it's too much. If they follow up with an active client who's looking to buy property, they'll call us when they want to see something. Nope. So we have to break that habit in the first 60 days. So Wendy is all over these guys on the micro level of the appointments themselves. Now, once they're out of boot camp, they can choose, and it's their choice, to stay on ISA appointments, which are just appointments booked on their calendar, whether they're buyers or listings. If they do the work, again, because you have to earn it, they have to do 500 dials or texts every 15 days inside the CRM. And we use Follow Up Boss. They have to keep their lists clean.
What does keep your list clean? This is a piece of gold. What does keep your list clean mean?
Yep. So in Follow Up Boss, you can set it up so you have multiple different lists for anybody that's a Follow Up Boss user, right? So your hot guys that need to be called almost daily go into list A, your every week calls go into list B, and then your every 2 week calls, like your C buyers, go into list C. Right? Every single day, it auto-populates who you need to call, and all you need to do is clear the list. You make the call, it leaves the list. You send the text, it leaves the list, whatever that next action is. So you have to have clean lists every 15 days or we pull you.
So Mike, on our team, like, this is where the money is made or lost. What we're talking about right now. And on our team, we have the most basic system on the planet. Our administrative person, Bree, we call it the success team. It's the backbone of our company, by the way, the administrative team. We call them the nurses. Yes. Our agents are surgeons, and the nurses have the hardest job in the company because they've got to take care of our agents, and they also have to take care of our clients. They've got 2 different they're serving. And our lead nurse, Bree, every single evening sends out an email of all of our agents, and it just simply has a smiley face like, cool, Michael Perna has a clean list. That's what the smiley face means. And the next day might be Bella, and it will show 22 in red. And all that 22 represents is that Bella had 22 activities to do today. At some point in the past, she picked, what's today's date? The 14th is Valentine's Day. Some point in the past, she picked the 14th was the day to follow up with these 22 people, and she didn't do it. We don't hit her with a stick. We don't yell at her. And it's sent to the entire company. And what we'll often get back, Michael, is a text or an email to the leadership team. And it's like, hey, Craig, I sold 4 homes today. Cool. That is a good reason to not connect with those 22. And all they're saying is like, I had something today that pulled me off, and selling homes is a great thing. And tomorrow I'll catch back up. And this one simple exercise of a clean list, a little bit of accountability behind it, is frankly why we just consistently keep selling homes. Like, it is not that hard to talk to 10 people a day.
No,
It's just not. And if you do mathematically, the odds of you meeting somebody that buys a home tomorrow goes up exponentially.
I mean, and think about this, guys. Like there are what 250 working days in a year. If you take out all the weekends and the holidays and all that, 10 people a day is 2,500 conversations. What's your goal? 40 deals, 30 deals? Do you think out of that those 2,500 conversations, 30 people are going to buy and sell something? Absolutely. Absolutely. But that's all it needs to be, guys, is 10 conversations a day.
We've got a coach that I'm learning a ton from. His name is Mike Shaw, and he's a coach. He's coaching your team. There we go.
He's coaching my team, and he's on here, and I appreciate him working with our team.
Yeah, and something that Mike shared with my personal team. He also coaches my own team. Out of all the RCC coaches, he's the only one I pay to coach my own agents. Great coaches across the board. Mike's just a different level. And Mike shared with us last week. He goes, "Hey, Michael, if I could tell you that you could earn $200,000 a year, and for 2 to 4 hours a day, you have to build and maintain relationships. That's all you got to do for 2 to 4 hours a day is build and maintain relationships. At the end of the year, you'll have over $200,000 you make. Is that a job you would accept?"
Yes, absolutely.
That's our industry, ladies and gentlemen.
That's the job.
That's it. Build and maintain relationships for 2 to 4 hours a day, and you are going to have an absolute incredible income. Fantastic. All right, we got a couple minutes left, Mike. Where do you want to bring us home? Like, what do you think is holding people back from scaling? Earlier, you said big is bad, or what's on your brain? Like, let's do Mike Unplugged for the next 2 minutes.
Okay. Number one, I think the number one limiting belief I see team leaders that I talk to that they have around scaling is just that they feel so responsible for these guys' success that every single person that leaves their organization, they feel like they have failed. And if you look back at, let's call it, for all the team leaders in the room, last 5 people that left the organization, take a real good actual look. And there might be a little bit of your DNA on maybe one of them, but I bet 4 of them you look at and then you pull up their follow-up boss file or whatever CRM you're using. You're like, oh, they weren't doing the work anyway. We got to stop working. We got to stop worrying about them doing the work they're supposed to be doing that we're hiring them to do. Right? Yes, we worry about our systems and our procedures and our protocols and things like that. We want to have the best leads and we want to have the best admin. We want to have the best ISA departments. Yes, that is our job. It's their job to show up and actually make the calls and do the work. That's number one. Number 2, I think we need to give more people chances. Simply put, we need to give more people chances that we might be on borderline on hiring. And number 3, when there's a tipping point, right? So there have been several tipping points in my business. One of them was at 85 million in sales, and this is just an area thing. One of them was at 150 million, and now there's another one here above 200 million, like 250 million, where every time I hit a milestone, it first got harder. So at 86 million, I was still in production. So I was listing 15 properties a month, and I was training, and I was coaching, and I was doing the things. At 150, I was no longer in production, but I was still training and coaching and doing the things. Now at 250, I'm not doing any of that. So as the bigger you get, the actual easier and less stressful and less physical work it becomes, right? Like if you look at like corporate America, very simply corporate America, right? When you get hired in and you start anywhere, you are paid in direct proportion to the amount of minutes you put into the job. As you climb the ladder, it's no longer about the minutes, it's about the solutions. And that's a very key difference. Like there's some very big CEOs out there, like General Motors has Mary Barra, right? She was quoted as saying that she works about 15 hours a week. She makes $100 million a year.
It's a very effective 15 hours a week.
That's it. She provides 4 or 5 key solutions and then acts on those solutions to cause General Motors to have the best 10-year run they've ever had. Right.
Well, Mike, that's how you set up, right? The 4 different quadrants of your onboarding through the training. I think it was quadrant 3 is conversion coaching with Jeff. And I know Jeff, the guy's a superstar.
Yeah.
That's Okay, you can make your 10 dials or $500, whatever it is. And if your conversion is not up to par, you're going to keep working harder and harder to get that one sale. On the flip side, if we can help you with conversion, help you listen, help you dig deeper, all the things you shared 15 minutes ago, guess what? Less dials will result in the same amount of appointments. Now let's sharpen up what you do at the appointments. And by the way, we
Yeah.
should work with everybody. The beauty of what you're laying out is there's a group of people we're going to meet. It's like, you know what? Your motivation doesn't match our current market. You're amazing. And I'm going to keep you apprised of what's happening in the market, but I'm not going to put you in my car because I
That's
want
right.
to be motivated. And so
That's right.
you're right, like in our business and what you set up, sorry, my brain is just spinning. You've given me so much info. What you've set up on a very scalable, big company, anybody on this call can do. And
100%.
one of them can
100%.
be like, okay, I'm going to practice my own conversion. I'm going to set a goal to get my first 3 escrows in 60 days. I'm going to make a commitment to reach out to 10 people a day. Like that's where it starts. And from there is as broad as you want to take it, you can scale in any direction.
Well, and I'm going to add just 2 last quick points to end this thing. I can't have a Jeff unless I have 90 agents. Simply put, I need 90 agents to afford that income, right? And the number 2, if I don't have the 90 agents to support the income to be able to promote Jeff, eventually Jeff will leave for other opportunity. Because if I can't provide additional opportunity, he will leave, and he should. Any team member that can't grow where they're at should leave their organization.
100%. If you don't create opportunity for talent, they're going to leave you to find it every single time.
For sure. It's happened to me a million times until I decided one day to not allow it to happen again.
Buddy, I think you and I could keep this conversation going for 10 hours. I want to thank you. You are amazing. So much great info. Michael, you were kind enough to share, what is it called, Bella? What we got from Sadie?
Oh, the 8-point, 8-point buyer plan.
Yeah, we got
great.
Michael Perna's 8-point buyer. What's an 8-point buyer? What?
8-point buyer plan. It's what we use to get our buyer clients signed. It's our presentation. Guys, take it, use it. These guys have it. Sign up to get it. Rebrand it to yourself. Do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, we're going to have that as a download on our website next couple of days. We'll email all of you that registered, letting you know how to find it. And it's cool. Like this is what the Perna team uses at the Kitchen Island to get commitment from that client at the first showing. Plug for myself. I do own a coaching company. We're really good at what we do. Teams like Michael Perna, top teams in the country. Like I think right now on our roster, Mike, we've got 11 of the top 50 teams in the country currently in our program. And you're of course one of those. So we do our classic one-on-one coaching. If you want to know more, it's no pressure. Scan that QR code. We also do a lot of conversion coaching. We're working with Sync. We're working with Opcity. We're working with Zillow. Who else are we working with? OJ, like a bunch of them. And these companies that are creating leads are coming to RCC saying, hey, can you work with our clients to help them convert at a higher level? So if you're interested in that, scan the QR code on the left. Michael, you've got 140 people in the room right next to you, and you took 30 minutes out of your day to share with all of us. I just can't thank you enough, brother. Thank you.
No, thank you, Greg. I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity and you guys have me on. And I saw that in the chat, guys, that 8-point plan is going to be on Craig Rieger's the coaching site. Go grab it and download it. It's worth it. It's a great marketing piece.
Yeah, we'll have an email to all of you showing telling you where to find it by tomorrow.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, Michael, I appreciate you. Love you, buddy. Thanks so much. Everybody have a great day.
Take care, everybody.